Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Six Nations, of course, the three in a row for the final weekend, and we have the updated table. Ireland moved to number one, but for how long is the big question. The Welsh, they are sitting bottom of the bunch, and after Italy were within 7 up against the Irish, it means that now Wales, they either have to draw this game or win it to be able to get themselves ahead of this Italian side. Although there is the technicality that if they were to lose, but lose with a bonus point and be within 7, their differential would also get them there. But of course, Wales are not looking at that. They are instead looking to get themselves a victory in this last round at the Principality. For the English, if they get themselves a win here, they will move into first place, and then that game between France and Scotland becomes ever so more important for those two teams. Looking through at the starting lineup, first of all for the Welsh, it will be Nicky Smith, Elliot Dee and Wilgriff John as the front row, Will Rowlands and Daft Jenkins in the locking duo, with Aaron Wainwright, Jack Morgan and Talupe Faletau slotting in as the number 8, Thomas Williams and Gareth Anscombe in the 9-10 channel, with Joe Roberts out on the left wing, Ben Thomas and Max Llewellyn in the middle, and Elliot Mee out on the right. And then that brings Blair Murray, who's been one of the young standouts of the Six Nations competition for the Welsh. We do see there the live win predictor has 23% chance that the Welsh will be able to get over the line. Of course, that back line will be absolutely key. Looking through at England's starting lineup, it is Alice Genge, Luke Cowan-Dickie and Will Stewart as the front three. Maro Itoje and Ollie Chisholm, who are always a handful at line-out time in the locks, and Tom Curry, Ben Curry. So 2 Currys starting, and Ben Earl there at number 8 as well. Alex Mitchell and Finn Smith will be the 9-10 combo, with Dingwall and Freeman in the middle, Daly, Roebuck and Smith as the back three. So Freeman moves into that 13 role, and we do see Elliot Daly back out on that wing. He's spent a lot of his career in that position. He's an outstanding athlete. And tell you what, this is going to be a good game. I do hope that Wales are able to at least keep it competitive, just like we saw between Italy and Ireland. I mean, that game could have easily gone either way too. Looking through at England's Six Nations, they did have a loss in their opening contest up against the Irish, losing by 5. They then lost by 1 up against the French. They won by 1 up against the Scottish, and then they were able to beat the Italians in that last week's game with 47 points to 24. So overall, they've been strong, the English, and they've been a little bit underrated, I guess you could say, for this competition, because they've just hung in there. They've pulled off a couple big wins. If they were able to somehow pull off an even bigger one here up against the Welsh, all the pressure goes back onto the French. Whereas for the Welsh, they had a loss to France from the starting round of the Six Nations. That honestly, ruined their competition from the get-go. But there's been some good moments. They were close in that game up against the Italians. They also really pushed Ireland in that 27 points to 18 loss, and then having a big comeback in the second half up against Scotland, but still conceding far too many points throughout the first 40 minutes. We look at their history as 69-61 to England, 12 draws, says Jimbo. And we have got their, also, where's the Q&B Katie? Says Blues Nate, and did Wales ever win against England? They've won multiple times up against the English. Good morning, Hamish. Wales need a win to stop the drought. Good morning, all, says Kevin. And yeah, it's a very intriguing game, because a lot more people are going for Wales than I think Welsh supporters even would have expected heading into this matchup. But it does seem to be anyone but England for a lot of people in the Six Nations. The French, like I mentioned, they are still in the box seat. If they manage to win their game, they win the Six Nations. That's the simple part. But they are still around 3 hours and 20 minutes away from kicking off in that contest. So, of course, we're going to have this one, which will be match number 2 of the day, as we just did Ireland versus Italy as well. But do let me know your score predictions for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Who you think will be the first try scorer out there on the pitch. A big opportunity for a lot of these young guys. Why France on the board, says Mohadin. Oh, you're onto it there. I've got the wrong scoreboard up. One moment. We will go like this, and we will share the right scoreboard. Thank you very much, Mohadin, for noticing that. You could be a detective. There we go. Oh, that's a bit big. Here we go. We have fixed it. Thank you very much. Scoreboard confused with England and Wales, says Blues Nate. And we have there, they were the best ever team. says Jimbo. Welsh beat England with JPR Williams, and if England lose tonight, they set a new record for the longest losing streak in the professional era of rugby. If Wales lose tonight. And they've already hit their own record, so would be a pretty brutal one to hit for the Six Nations too. My prediction is England 40, Wales 45, so you're going no defence in this match by the sounds of that. Which honestly, a high-scoring game is not out of the question between these two teams. They both like to play the attacking rugby, and I know saying that when Wales are on a losing streak is sounding like a little bit of irony, but they do score quite a few points, the Welsh, and they have got a lot of potential in this young side. They just need more time. And unfortunately, in a competition like the Six Nations, where week in, week out, you are facing world-class opposition, you don't get a lot of breathing room. We're about to have God Save the King, and then the Welsh national anthem will be sung at the Principality, and then we'll be underway for this matchup. England should smash Wales, but the ref will be on Wales' side, says Mr. Marmite. And England win 29 points to 17, Wales to win 28-27. 32-27 to Wales. I'm seeing more predictions for Wales to win in this one by the looks of it than I am seeing for England. So what we will do is we'll quickly have a look at the poll and see what it is saying. So, pretty close. 56% for England, 42% for Wales, and 1% or 2%, for the draw. So overall, as close to 50-50, I think, as we're going to see for this weekend. Actually, no, I take that back. Scotland versus France, I think, in terms of the poll, will be extremely even. The English national anthem has been sung. God Save the King, England, says Blues Nate. Now the Welsh in the Principality, it is always a special atmosphere when this national anthem is sung. I believe they have got the roof on for this match today. Brits out, says Callum. And also watch the ref, says Mr. Marmite. And Wales of the last two matches have shown more fight. Very unlucky against Ireland, says Stevie. Yeah, one of their better performances we've seen in an extremely long time for the Welsh. I think it's just about them finding the right combo at the moment. I think they've found it to a certain extent in the forward pack. We've started seeing some scrum dominance from Wales, which is a bit of a rarity. But it's just whether or not they can stop the opposition from scoring early. Because it was a little bit the same with the Italians. They rode out the early wave of Irish momentum, and then, every once in a while they had a few good moments themselves. So, yeah, a little bit the same. And this one, there's a joke about the roof in Max Boy's Hymns and Ireas, 1999 version. Says Steve V. I think the Springboks will win the All Blacks at Eden Park, says Marie. And Wales are at home, and of course they will play their absolute hearts out against England, so it could be close, says Akaris. Yeah, I think if this game was at Twickenham, although to be fair, Wales have got all right away from home in a couple of their games, haven't they? I was too quick to sneeze compared to mute there. But the national anthems have been sung. Welsh national anthem rocks, says Jimbo. Yeah, it just gives you goosebumps when you're obviously at the ground, but the passion shown by the fans even through this tough time is very admirable. We're just about ready to go. 1 minute away from the start of this contest, ladies and gents. The second game of the Six Nations for the final round. The France win against South Africa, says Mohamed. It depends on when you're talking. If you're saying the Rugby World Cup, then yes. If you're talking anything that happened within the last year and a half, then I don't believe they've played that I can think of. They say it's got a sliding roof that slowly walks away, so fold it back when Wales attack, and God can watch us play, says Steve V. And we have got the Jimbo Land of my fathers. Says Roof there. They are just showing that starting lineup. 50th cap for Will Stewart, so a big moment for that man. Been a handy option in that front row for the English for quite some time. And the back line, Finn Smith, Marcus Smith, that combo will be an interesting one to watch. And then off the bench, they have also got George Ford there with Jack Van Porfleet. They are the two back replacements. Chandler Cunningham himself actually listed as number 19, so maybe an option as a lock replacement as well as in that loose forward trio. That's the extract from Max Boyce's lyrics. And England 45-10 to the Welsh. And we have got there, we will win, says Sherlock Holmes. And rally up them sheeps, I'ma drop them bars, says Blues Nate. And come on Wales King, says Callum. Now ready to go for this contest. Both sides will want that quick fire start. We see Andy Farrell watching on. Nick Berry, the Australian, will be in charge of this game. The TMO is Mike Adamson of Scotland. Welsh to score first, set fire to the atmosphere, says Jimbo, and the English are kicking off. It was an interesting layout that they had there. Off the kickoff, pretty much as soon as the whistle blew, they all did a formation. But Wales have got themselves the ball just outside of their 22. England should be taking nothing for granted, ready to give their all. Wales have to play out of their skins to stand a chance, but England are the biggest foes, says Robert. Thomas Williams kicking downfield, looking for the touch line, bouncing awkwardly, but Marcus Smith does well to keep the ball in the field of play. And now charging forward, Will Rowlands makes the tackle on him. Mitchell goes back across to the right-hand side to Ellis Gench. Wales, their defence has to be on point. Already a cross kick attempted here from the youngster. Finn Smith, picture perfect, going straight into the hands of Tom Roebuck. Mitchell back across to the left-hand side to Ben Earl. How was the Ireland final score? 22-17 in favour of the Irish. They did get the bonus point. So at the moment, the way that it sits, Ireland are number one on the table. But that can change. There is a penalty advantage in favour of the English. Little grubber in behind. And they'll go back now for the penalty in favour of England. Yeah, 3 points at the moment on the table for the Welsh compared to the 15 of the English. So if England were to win this game, even without a bonus point, they would still go through to first due to points differential. And then it would all come down to that French game and whether or not they are able to get the victory over Scotland. So still a lot on the line for the Six Nations, like I said. We have got there a nope, but it could be in another galaxy. And we have got there England, says Sebastian. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for this contest. 3 league changes could be on the cards, or maybe even only 2. If that is the case, that would mean maybe an upset in the Six Nations. But now, line out throw for the English. I see taken by Maro Itoje. Be about 10 metres out from the line. Here comes Tom Curry with his pants down. Now Mitchell, Maro Itoje with the pick and go. Mitchell was going to go for it, but he left it alone. And there's already a bit of push and shove there between the Welsh and the English. There is feeling in this contest. One singular English fan clapping in an area of about 1,000 Welsh supporters. And we have there, what's your prediction for France-Scotland? I hope it's a close game. And one that has a little bit of drama right down to the wire. Right, they just want to check this one. He said that they can line it up, so that would make me think that he more than likely thinks that it is a try. But is that going to be the case? Okay, it's taken a little while to get the TMO. Mike Adams in to find it. Everyone is calculating before the France-Scotland match. I'll calculate afterward. That's even needed, and that kick has gone over. Right, it's all been cleared. 7-0 now for England. We have got there, try, says David the Mod. I can be the best man at your wedding, Ruth, says Mr. Marmite. And Marmite, you can be the flower girl. There you go. 3 minutes in, though. Maro Itoje, just really strategically done. Duff Jenkins and Will Rowlands. They were expecting it maybe to go out wide. So that worked in the English's favour. Nicely taken by Maro Itoje just outside of the 22. Right, referee has said that it is a maul, so they have to try and keep this one on their feet. More promising start than I expected. Perhaps England can settle now, says Steve V. And only 3 minutes, says Mr. Marmite. Yeah, still very early on in this contest. Plenty of time for it to change. But now, a bit of pressure on Will Stewart in the breakdown. Wales not quite able to get that steal. Now Mitchell kicks it high. Down towards the 40-metre line. Daly slaps it back, or at least I think half-by slapped it back. He was trying to catch it, but the ball tried to avoid him. And the ref says it is going to be a Welsh throw here. England are not happy about it. At the moment, we've got a back off White into touch. And I believe that is what I also saw. A ref, you would have to marry Hamish on Christmas Day when there's no rugby, says Robert. And we have got there, did someone mention Curry adopts Vindaloo as English song? Says Steve, and that's the penalty now to England in the breakdown. Benell locking himself over the ball. Manages to steal it. This early penalty starting to add up against the Welsh. I believe that is now their second. That's a good kick downfield. Which now means that it will be the line out for England, about 30 metres from the line. They are, of course, also chasing a bonus point here, although, to be fair, it's not going to matter too much whether they get a bonus point or not, because, well, no, it would to a certain extent, because, well, no, never mind, because if they win this game, they're first, no matter what they win it by, and then if France win their game, they'll win. If they lose, then should still be England. So really, England just need a win. That's how close the Six Nations has actually become. The fact that it's all coming down to the last round, and there are a whole heap of scenarios that can happen. There, people need to stop marrying each other. It's getting out of hand, says Sebastian. Is Finn going to score all of our conversions like last Sunday again? He had a great day off the kicking tee, didn't he? Pack weight, 919 for England compared to the 915 of the Welsh. English is being a menace with the attack. And also France might be complacent, celebrating and drunk already against Scotland, says Steve V. Harris needs a day off from his commentary, says Ruth. There too. Right, we're going to have another quick reset here. Nick Berry trying to keep this game flowing as much as possible. Right, seems like they've sorted that one out. Now we have got there, how old is Bov? Who is Bov? I'm not sure. It's like a middle-aged Greenlandic or Landic shark, says Steve V. And that's going to be a free kick now for the Welsh. Right. That's a big confidence builder. And like I said, like the French, or sorry, not the French, the Welsh, their scrum has come a long way in just a short amount of time. They've been able to turn it around big time. Now, Wales just deciding to go with the free kick and boot it as high as they can. And we have got there that cute little looking sheep on my screen. Ain't you so adorable, says Blues Nate. Cute little sheep on my screen. Are you watching a different stream too, Nate? Maybe? Oh, yeah, I've got there how many years have you been using this headset? Honestly, it's at least 3, I think. It's probably a good, beautiful pickup from Blair Murray. They're not going to catch him, and this is going to be a try for Wales. Off just open play. Well, not even open play, just a little bit of broken play. And they pick up the ball. One of the standout players of the Six Nations for the Welsh has now just got the try. We've got that Bob Rule give me pimples on my chest. I think I said that before. It says RIP and I hope Wales win and Scotland to win. So Ireland win the Six Nations. Says the Edit King. Right, they are just going to be checking this one by the sounds of it. A bit of a TMO interception here. Right, on-field decision is try. Right, we're just listening. Someone was saying about a contest in the air. I think that was one of the English players. No try should be checked. So it's hit the face of Murray. So because it's hit the face, from there it is play on. Now they're just going to check to see if there is any offside. Ooh. Maybe he didn't retreat enough. So Murray's there. No, that's fine. I believe. I think that's going to be a try for the Welsh. Crowd are booing here. Is that because of how long it has taken, or maybe because Mario Itoje went over to the referee? Offside, says Mr. Marmite, and best let Wales score for the bloodbath, says Teflon. And Wales coming for the English Souls, says Matthew. Okay. I think I was looking at the wrong guy for offside. So they're looking at 9 for Wales rather than 15. My apologies there. Right. Mike Adamson sounds like he's telling Nick Berry the rule, but then not. He has had an impact. Right, so this is going to be no try, ladies and gentlemen, for offside against Thomas Williams. So we're going to see the replay again here. Yeah, so because Williams has tried to make the tackle on Tom Curry as he's about to land, he's played at it, as Mike Adamson said. Although, from that angle, Tom Curry already had lost the ball at that point, hadn't he? So that's actually, yeah, it is an interesting one. He has tackled Tom Curry, but from one of those angles, it did look like Curry had already got rid of that ball at the time that he was tackled. So, yeah, it's a question of whether or not he has an impact on play. The crowd are not happy about it. Commentators are not happy about it either, by the sounds of it. Will we be live for England and France? We certainly will be. All right, so they will go right back to where it was offside. That means that England will have themselves the penalty. Or no, I think, yeah, maybe Williams' arm snuck around there. I think one angle made it look different. The other angle made it look like he was involved. And I bet a lot of money on Wales, says ROP, so you would have definitely wanted to see that try going through, of course. Now 8 minutes into the contest and 7-0 still the scoreline for England. How's it, Hamish? Says BDV, doing very well, mate. Hopefully you are enjoying your time in New Zealand. Very early morning start for you, or maybe late night, depending on what way you look at it. Now, Thomas Williams. In fact, they are actually going to have the scrum here, Wales. So I believe that was for the initial knock-on from Elliot Daly. Rules of two are intricate. If it takes over 5 minutes to evaluate one decision, says Steve, and gamblers are losers, says Robert. But now big scrum from the English, and that is a massive confidence booster. Oh, double blow of the whistle. A very early morning, mate, says Bertie V. You're probably still used to your South African times, aren't you? So it's probably made it quite difficult to adjust to Kiwi times. Good news is you'll only have to wait maybe another hour and a bit before the sun does peak over the hills. I think there's hills where you are, isn't there? But yeah, that's against Will Griff John and the scrum. And we have got there 100% says Bertie V. Line out throw now for Luke Cowan. Dickey goes to the front. And is well claimed by the English. Now Daly goes off. Oh, no penalty advantage in favour of this English side. Now a wide cutout pass. That is perfect from Finn Smith. Great finish from Tommy Roebuck, and England will get their second try, his first start. Big smile on his face. He is celebrating like he's just won the match. Now well scrum by Genge, says Jimbo. Tommy Roebuck, or Roebuck I should say, sorry, 4 caps. Second try for him. Just going to see that this pass from Finn Smith is literally perfect. We're going to see it here. Mitchell went across, just wide cutout pass straight into the hands of the winger. Not really lofty, so no opportunity for Wales to get up quick enough to get the steal twice in a row. Wales didn't compete at the breakdown, says Big Rig. And oh no, says Ruth. And there as well, that kick has gone over from Finn Smith. And that's now going to make the score 14-0 in favour of the English. This is getting ugly for Wales already. They needed that try. That was disallowed. We have the England, says Sebastian. Of course, the English, they don't need the bonus point, but they would love to get it, just because it does make that little bit more of a statement. Down into the 22 now. And kicked into touch by England. France are nervous, says Mr. Marmite. But yeah, the result of this game honestly doesn't affect France that much, because either way, France now find themselves not in first on the Six Nations table. And whether England get a bonus point or not, France's points differential does blow everyone out of the water. So it's just more so down to, like, maybe as they get closer to the game, there's going to be actually a penalty. England, bit of contact in the air. Maro Itoje is going, I didn't touch him. But I wonder whether or not the replay will show otherwise. I see Wales are starting well, says Bill. Although, to be fair, they were down by a lot up against the Scottish and then eventually made their way back into the game. So it's not all lost at the moment. And France have their destiny in their own hands, says Robert. I'm sorry, but all the bad things I've ever said about the Scots, please help us, says Sebastian. Yeah, it's going to be an important game because there are going to be big implications on the line. Like, Scotland can't win the Six Nations, but they can certainly stop France from doing so. But it's whether or not, would they want England to win it rather than the French, or would they want Ireland to win it if England can't get the job done here, which they should be able to, I should clarify. They are currently sitting very nicely. Ben Thomas hitting the ball up for the Welsh. They have got themselves the penalty advantage. About 15 metres out, Thomas Williams, wide slinging pass, goes to Aaron Wainwright. In fact, Nick Berry might have actually stuck his arm up and then taken it straight back down. I'm not sure if he actually gave the penalty advantage for the Welsh. I should have been a yellow for Itoje, says Jimbo. And we look at the wrong score, says Big Rig Joe. I saw you in Blood Diamond, bro, says Callum. Is that like a movie? Maybe. It's going to be well held up by England in the rolling maul. And it's going to be a loss of possession for the Welsh. The English get it back. They've come to play in this contest as they needed to. At the end of the day, the Six Nations is on the line. Come on, Blair Murray, spark something, says John. I mean, he tried it before, but they did disallow his try. Scotland are what to replace the ball with a hefty caber, says Steve V. To take part in a Scottish games one time back at school, and they did have the caber toss. They also had tug of war, which my team managed to win only because I just really strategically stacked my side so that absolutely no one was going to be beating us. So that's my best, coaching / player experience. Hamish looks great suntanned. It's just the lighting, I swear. I'm still very pale. In fact, every time I put my arm up, and then it changes the colour a little bit more. Now scrum feed for the English. Ready to feed this ball in. Oh, not going to be able to get it in there, though, as both front rows have collapsed under the pressure. Oh, what's happening now? A little bit of extra push and shove. Ollie Chesham is not happy. Wainwright isn't either. Right. I think the referee needs to get control of this because that's now the second time there's been a bit of a scuffle. And even though we love seeing it because it shows the passion of the players and also shows the intent, I think Nick Berry will try and shut this one down as soon as he can. Right. He's just slapped Maro Itoje in the stomach and said, Maro, sort that out. So yeah, Tom Curry pushing one of the props, which I don't understand why he had to do that. So then Wainwright pushes him. Then Ollie Chesham turns bright red and starts getting a shirt up his nose. And that's pretty much the gist of it. All started because Tom Curry decided he wanted to push someone who he didn't need to. Shut the Seven Bridge down up England. He's excited about England winning the Six Nations, says Mr. Marmite. That was the best of all Queen's video. The random relevance of vacuuming the house. That's going to be another Free kick going the way of England here. Just inside of their own 22, so they will actually be able to put this ball into touch if they like, which I believe they will. However, their lads has come down. There's an audience, no fighting. See the Blues. Yeah, it seems like it's going to kick off at any moment here between these two sides. Oh, nice steal for England. Alex Mitchell goes across to Curry. Now one more pass on the outside. It's good quick hands from England. Pass going into the chest. Now Mitchell across to Maro Atoje that scored the first try of the match. With no Dan Cole or Marler. There are zero likeable England players left, says Bill. And going to be crazy, says Blues Nate. And yeah, as this match wears on, I feel like the tension and the pressure of the Six Nations will get to the sides even more. Oh, that looked high from Ollie Chisholm. He's actually stayed down there from his tackle on Ben Thomas. He's playing with his nose. Like, if a player's done that, maybe that needs to be checked. He's kind of dangling down as well, Ollie Chisholm. Trying to get that equilibrium back. He doesn't look 100% here. In fact, he's made a tackle and now he's just lying down, and he probably won't mind that. Staying down for a bit longer. Tied by Thomas Williams. Marcus Smith waiting for this one, and a big shot on him by Joe Roberts. Has Chisholm gotten up? Oh, there he is. Now rolling this one back. Alex Mitchell told to use it by Nick Berry. Tommy Roebuck chases after this one and slaps it back, picks it up and tries to offload it, but Thomas Williams manages to keep the ball alive. It comes off to Lupe Falatau and now goes into touch. Hamish, do you have a support animal? I do not know. Oh, England wanted to take that one quickly, but the referee says no, you can't do that because there is a man down. Unfortunately, it is one for the Welsh and Nick Berry. Okay, I think he just wanted them to check that restart too here. See whether or not there was head-on-head, which I assume there was because, yeah, out of that challenge, he came out of it kind of going like that, Ollie Chisholm, as if to say maybe he got hit in the nose. Okay, they're still checking for this knock-on. By the sounds of it. So I don't think that one of Chisholm is going to be checked. But perhaps it should have been. Already 18 minutes into this match. Steve Borthwick, he's going to need more water because that looked like he was about 3/4 of the way through his bottle. And he's still got another 62 minutes remaining. It looks like Wales, they will be back to their full 15 as he has got back up to his feet. Joe Roberts. And is ready to keep playing, Matthew. I'm the only female here. Where's Caitlin and Lillian Wynn? Says Ruth. And morning, Kiwi lads, everyone. Go England. Wait here, Amy. Says Spider Mick. Ollie Chisholm leaving the field for an HIA. So how'd that happen? Because he butted the guy, didn't he? So I'm really surprised that they haven't checked it. Maybe if they show the replay of how he got injured here, that would actually possibly show us what we need to see. But I don't think they're going to check it. Even though I'd like them to, just so that I can see whether or not it was a nasty head-on-head, or maybe there was a bit of a dip involved in it. Here says Lilia B. And he looks he wasn't good after getting knocked in the nose. He was trying to sort it out, and then he was pretty slow getting back up. That brings on Chandler Cunningham South. Now Alex Mitchell on across to the left-hand side. Now Ellis Genge got to attack and run from the loose head prop. And this guy, Cunningham, says Blues Nate. Now Mitchell goes across to Tom Curry again. He's slightly held up by Jack Morgan, but eventually finds his way to the turf. Now a little grubber in behind from England, and the ball does roll into touch. Will be another line out here for Wales. I told you the ref was going to cheat, says Mr. Marmite. Although you did say he was going to cheat in favour of Wales, didn't you? And then we had a couple decisions go against the Welsh at this point. Now thrown in, well claimed. Lupe Falatau just out from his own 5-metre line. I've been told to use it again. Thomas Williams. Kicking towards the touchline. Nice take from the English. Elliot Daly, and that is going to be the line out again. I feel like this kind of tempo at the moment isn't a bad one for either side. They shouldn't run out of energy unless something drastic happens, but they're just consistently going along. Oh, thrown to the front there for the English. A little bit of a slip from Mitchell. Right, Nick Berry has just said it's not straight. So that's going to be a scrum now in favour of the Welsh. And losers blame the ref, says Robert. That's not friendly, Tim, says Mr. Marmite. Already a quarter of the way through this contest. The next game between France and Scotland, it's going to be taking place in around 2 hours, 50 minutes. So actually a wee way away. We've got about an hour 10 break in between these two streams. The biggest thing for me will be just trying to stay awake during that period. Thomas Williams now, ready to put the ball in for the Welsh. And that has worked not too badly for them. Managing to get it in and out in quick succession. To behind, Blair Murray tried the 50-22, but it does go just outside. I'm great, thanks. How are you doing? I'm here. Just busy multitasking. My hands are busy. PG busy, says Lilia. A Welsh made head contact, red card, says Mr. Marmite. Too high, says Mr. Marmite there too. Luke Cowan-Dickie, another throw for him. Got Jamie George off the bench alongside Finn Baxter and Joe Hayes as the front row. 3 Indy players to have. Ben Curry claims that line out. Ben Earl. It's a couple more metres. Oh. Okay, I think Wales were trying to say he was sealing off in the breakdown there, but just play on to Lupe Falatau. Tries to go up for the ball. I think it's knocked on by Roebuck. The ball is on the side of the Welsh, and they will be in possession yet again. Aaron Wainwright tries to go through Chandler, cutting himself in Curry, and it has not worked. Curry, a little bit of a counter-ruck. Referee says it's all good. Kick tie from Gareth Anscombe. That one took a long time to come down. And the knock-on advantage now in favour of the English. Finn Smith kicks it in behind. Advantage over. Going towards the touchline. One was taken back, so this one cannot go into touch, and it is a good kick. Down towards the 22. Alex Mitchell goes across to Marcus Smith. Puts the little chip in behind. Wants to bounce the ball. But has not quite got it. And now chipped in behind from Blair Murray. He said, anything you can do, I can do better. What a tackle that is. Absolutely fantastic work from, I believe it was Luke Cowan-Dickie. Might have even been Will Stewart, but that was a try-saving ankle tap from one of the biggest players on the field. Like they've just said, that's probably Blair Murray's second denied try now. I want the ball to go out so we can see a replay of that one. And don't hold up the English. The ref will award them a try, says John. Going up for it to Lupe Falatau. Massive knock on there. So, oh no, it's off his knee. Didn't even get a hand to it for Lupe Falatau. Now Roebuck. In fact, no, this time it's Tommy Freeman. Over the ball. Ben Thomas. Nope. Doesn't get the turnover. Referee not happy. Tom Curry tries a grubber in behind. And Lupe Falatau going to be tackled by him. Oh no, he's had the tape around his head put over the eyes there for a second for Tom Curry, wearing it like a blindfold. Now Thomas Williams goes off to Nicky Smith. Still a very long time since we saw that little moment where we almost saw the steal Oh, knock on by Mitchell. Right, now we've got the stoppage, or do we? No, it's still going to be play on. And the penalty awarded for the Welsh. I still want to see that high one that Murray claimed perfectly and then just got tackled last moment by the English front row. Now Anscombe, he will kick this ball into touch. Listening to you from Clarence, says Michael, welcome back. And what a tap tackle magic, yeah. Massively, oh, that's kicked dead. And they're going to show it again here. So Blair Murray goes for the chip in behind. Who was it that got back? It was Luke Cowan-Dickie who got the ankle tap that stopped Murray from running in a try. And all the Welsh supporters in the background, you can see them celebrating because they knew that he would have been through, but Cowan-Dickie with the try saver. It's now going to be the scrum here for the English, reason being that the Welsh weren't able to find touch with their penalty kick. It's the type of mistake that you cannot afford to have. I have withdrawals during the week when Hamish isn't on, says Matthew. We do have a Rugby 25 career mode going on midweek. If that is something that you are slightly interested in, you get to hear me talk for about 20 minutes on those ones. Hamish gives me hot, sweaty palms, says Ruth. And all to you, Matthew, up to Cuz, says Spider Mick. Today I'm going to give some flowers to pay Gwen a visit, says Spider Mick. Cowan-Dickie might be man of the match. Yeah, I think he had a brilliant moment there before and might be quite hard to deny him. Just looking at the odds at the moment, England are, as you would expect, heavy favourites. I don't really care about the Six Nations stuff, says Robert. So is it just URC at the moment that interests you, Robert, or Super Rugby, or what's your go-to at the current point? But now scrum feet, no. Never managed to get the ball in. I just heard someone say, please, sir, in an English accent, so I think someone was asking for a penalty but did not end up receiving it. All right, Nick Berry pretty much just saying, look, sort out the scrums, boys. This has been bad so far. Okay, I think that was Elliot D just saying something to the referee as well. Luke Cowan-Dickie, they're both having like a really long conversation. Over there, Robert prefers tiddlywinks. This manly stuff is beyond him, says John. 15 minutes remaining in this first half. Scrum's going to be about 45 metres out from England's line. And Mitchell will have the feed. And the big fish comes in. That actually never made it to the hooker, I don't think. That almost looked like it just went straight to 6 on the side. But now Mitchell. On back to Marcus Smith. Sells the dummy. Tries to sneak through. Manages to flick it out the back door to Elliot Daly. But he is stripped in the tackle. Now, right. No. 8 was the call from the ref. 8 pulled it away, but the penalty was not awarded. As the Royals there, I don't believe so. Tomorrow, all the UK fans will be keen about what could have been or should be. I assume that is from Robert. Maybe that's saying. Will be saying, and maybe it's stuck an extra word in there. Now back across to the left-hand side. Chance at the back line. Freeman slipped there for Curry. Now kicked in behind, but the ball rolls into touch. So Elliot Mee is unable to regather. But the Welsh have been so close multiple times throughout this first half, on the verge of scoring, and each and every time the ball just seems to run away from them. Cowan-Dickie should be ashamed of himself. Mind you, Cowan-Dickie isn't a Cornish surname. The only Cornish name player, Ken Plummer. And we have got there, I'm with MJ now. Like, is it Michael Jackson? Hamish, the scores in Super Rugby are ridiculously high. Defence is not good, says Peter Manson. It depends on, Mason. Depends on how you look at it. Because, I think it's more so the sides are a little bit more competitive. Because, we see high games in the URC all the time as well, in terms of a comparison to a different competition. The top league, we see quite a few high-scoring contests. Premiership, the same. And I think it's just more so the case of, with Super Rugby, the way that the games flow, it does benefit attacking sides. And also, there are hardly ever 3-pointers taken. So that's always going to lead to more points anyway. Your voice is echoing around the hallway, says RIP. And that is going to be the penalty going the way of the Welsh. But every once in a while we have a low-scoring game in Super Rugby too. Looking through at this round, there was, 18 points to 20. 38-21 was one of the more one-sided games. 55 points for the Crusaders. And then if we just quickly go to the URC and look at the last round that did take place. 38-30, 42-24, 31-21, 19-16. So honestly, it's not that different to other leagues. It's just, normally it's because they're going for a lot more tries. But currently Wales have got themselves possession. Now Thomas Williams goes off to the left-hand side. They need a try before the half-time break. Six Nations has the highest average gate of support at all grounds, or at the grounds of any tournament in the world, including the Football World Cup. Just jealous, says Akaris. Nicely claimed for the Welsh, although Curry got close to getting the steal in the breakdown. Nicky Smith. Ben Earl, that has to be advantage for not rolling away. Now Wales can try and make the absolute most of it. 11 minutes remaining in the half. Plenty of time. And big shot from Curry. Time being Ben rather than Tom. Cross kick. Tempted by Gareth and Skim. Well taken under the high ball from Elliot D. So they will go back for another penalty. They just asked the question of what the next plan would be. Do you go for the 3 points? Or do you go for the corner? It sounds like they are going to be opting for the corner. Better choice. Or at least better kick anyway. Towards the sideline. The crowd are starting to get that a little bit louder too. Would you sell Super Rugby to someone who doesn't really watch it? Anymore since the South African side's left, says Lilia B. I mean, it's certainly one of the more fast-paced competitions around the world. So if you love attacking rugby and just, if you love close edge your seat kind of fixtures, the amount of close games we have in Super Rugby each and every week has been insane this year. It's had every single side win, which is the first time since 1998 that it had happened going into this round. So it shows how competitive it has been. And, we saw, beautiful pass. Ben Thomas between the posts pretty much. And Wales have finally managed to get their breakthrough. It's okay to put Coke and Irish whiskey. Just not Scotch, says John. It should be 28-0, says Mr. Marmite. And try, says Jimbo. And there as well, I'm sure there will be a lot of happy Welsh supporters with that try. Wainwright was inches from the line. And then Wales just shifting it off to Ben Thomas, who was able to finish it. Someone else talking to Nick Berry. He's had a lot of chat throughout this match. Wait a minute. Stop the shot clock is what I just heard. Okay, all clear. I thought for a second they were going to find a way of disallowing that Welsh try too. And try time Wales, says Matthew. Now Gareth Anscombe does get the kick over, and that is now after 31 and a half minutes, going to make the score 14 points to 7. We saw there Prince William and Kate Middleton. I've just realised, what is, like, Prince William's last name? Like, because it's Queen Elizabeth, but that was her first name, so I don't actually think I know what the royal family's last name actually is. Wait, what's Prince Harry? No, that's his first name too. What are their last? Windsor. Ah, okay. That makes sense. I had a bit of a bad IQ moment there, didn't I? Let's see the Welsh come back. Says John. So William Windsor. There you go. That's a good kick downfield. House of Windsor, says Mr. Marmite. And Super Rugby is brilliant to watch, in my opinion. I've kept up with it since Justin Marshall was playing 9 for the Satyrs. My favourite Super Rugby team is the Chiefs. Says Kerno Wick, and of course getting themselves the big win over the Blues in the most recent fixture. They would have been extremely happy about. And we look at that. I hope Wales can pull off the upset. And the Wales, William Diana Windsor Spencer, says Ruth. Going off to the right-hand side. Mitchell. Going off to the left again. Wide cut-out pass goes to Chandler Cunningham South. So, yeah, we haven't actually seen Ollie Chisholm return from that head knock. William Arthur Philip Louis is Prince William's full name. Now, nice cut-out pass. Great skills from Tommy Roebuck to keep the ball alive to Marcus Smith. Still 3 metres out from the line, I should say. So Wilgriff John, he's saying, I can't go anywhere, ref. They're all over me. Now Dingwall goes across. England will score with Tommy Freeman through the middle. Once again, managing to do very nicely. Is the next Queen Megan? I don't think so. That I know of. I think it's the other side of the fam first. Kate's last name is Rich. Is it? So it's gone from Kate Middleton to Kate Rich, is it? Interesting. I want to breaks free, says Blues Nate, and I think Wales will be quietly confident going into the half-time, although they have just conceded, Stephen. 6 minutes left. However, their instant response says Big Rig. Yeah. Now, it will be the youngster Smith, sitting 3 from 3 again. Oh, Rich is in wealthy. Okay, I get you. And we have their Welsh defence boyo, says Ruth. Yeah, just conceding a few too many tries throughout this first half of the contest. And Tommy Freeman just going through 2 individuals. Put himself through the gap. We have good there. Now, this is a life watching rugby and busy preparing a South African breakfast for the peeps. Eggs, bacon, boulders, toast, and beans. Nice cup of Java, tea, or juice. Says Birdie. Sounds like you're going to be pretty busy in the next few hours. Now, Blair Murray trying to work for every extra metre that he can. Eventually did get shut down by the English defence, but now Wales decide to shift it out wide to the left. There is space. And now foot race, just managing to drag him down, was Tommy Freeman. Normally finds himself on the wing, but are playing in the centres for this match. And Scrum. Quick hands from Daff Jenkins. Nicely done by the big lock. Now Nicky Smith skips through one challenge. Bumps off Finn Smith. No relation. Now Thomas Williams goes to Blair Murray. Good driving tackle from Elliot Daly. How does the prize money get determined? Says Lily B. In what competition? In Super Rugby? Or in Six Nations? That's going to be the penalty going the way of Ben Earl and the English. And that's going to be for off feet. Decision against the Welsh. I'll be disappointed about that one just because they did have a decent chance. If they had hung on to it for that little bit longer to perhaps get another try before half-time. Ben Earl there just goes over the ball and then looks straight at the referee with a big smile going, yep, I know I've got that one. And the Six Nations says Lilia B. So I assume it's just like first you get a certain amount, second you would get a amount as well. But then I think all revenue is also divided between the countries. And now England have got themselves the rolling maul, 22 metres from the Welsh line. One more try would give them the bonus point, although that does not affect the overall outcome of the Six Nations. Although if France were to lose, it would at least put them just that little bit higher so that it separates them by a point up against the Irish on the standings. Now Mitchell goes across in behind Marcus Smith. Passes one more. Roebuck's been a real handful out on that wing, but Joe Roberts, to his credit, has been trying hard to stop them. Chandler Cunningham himself gets that a little bit closer, almost a turnover for Jack Morgan there. Now Mitchell goes short. That was close to 4, but it's going to be Chandler Cunningham himself. He has decided to do a celebration of plugging his ears. What a humble bloke. With 2.5 minutes remaining in this first half. The bonus point now in favour of the English. Probably a long shot. It would be great for Wales to pull this one off, says Michael. And I think a lot of sides will still keep an eye on Wales for that second 40 minutes. We saw it up against the Scottish, how close they actually came to causing a massive upset there. But they certainly cannot afford to be any more tries down heading into the second half, even though they have proven to be more of a second half team. Try says Mr. Marmite. And we have got there Pasties, says Teflon in there too. And a first half bonus point, says Jimbo. Yep. And that kick has gone over, sitting 4 from 4 now for the young man. And congratulations, England, everyone. Wales are just giving England a lead to make the second half more challenging for them. Says Stephen. Okay, it's an interesting tactic, and one that probably would be ill-advised by a lot of coaches. 56 points to 7 full time, says Mr. Marmite, and up the Bristol Bears, says Teflon. Going to be kicked off now by Wales. to Lupe Falatau chasing after it, but again, just can't quite regather it cleanly. It's one of the slight problems that Wales have actually had in this match is the ball not being nice. That one's going to hit the post. You can't let England get on the front foot, says Scott. That ball's going to be kicked and a touch by Wales. 50 seconds left. The last attack of the half, I believe, will be for the English. They've had 5 visits to the opposition, 22, and on average, per visiting to the 22, they've got 5.6 points. I'm going to argue Six Nations champions, says Crimson. Not necessarily. Scottish still have to get themselves the big win. Oh, that's going to smack straight off the head. Oh, what a play that is. Dingwall passes it across to Ben Curry. And he's going to be dragged down just short. Oh, Toje went for the ball and ended up missing it. Will Stewart's gone over. And England score the try. That ball rocketed into the forehead of Ellis Gensch. I think he was channeling his inner Joe Marler with that one. And that is a third try for Will Stewart in his 50th cap. Right, they just want to check to see whether or not Maro Itoje knocked that ball on in their breakdown. The on-field decision is try goal, says Crimson. Okay. Just checking this one for Maro Itoje. Okay, he played at it and it rolled sideways, to be fair. So the ball has moved as Itoje. See, honestly, it doesn't look like it's being knocked on, but more so the ball just rolls sideways. Mike Adamson's looking at it with his head sideways, tilted like a dog that sees a steak. So if it goes sideways, I guess it's fine. England expected to run out of steam in the 65th minute. So he tried to grab it. Yeah, this is a tricky one because See, that angle looks like a knock on, but I really don't want them to take this away from, okay, no clear knock on. I was going to say, Will Stewart, the big man, deserves a try. But, yeah, it's going to be on-field decisions staying. That's going to really annoy the Welsh supporters because at the end of the day, they had a try disallowed earlier in this contest. Ref will give it because they were over the 22, says John. And a bit harsh of not giving. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, like, looking at it, it honestly could have gone either way. Because the ball did travel, I felt, in a sideways direction, which sometimes they even consider it a knock-on when it goes back with some of the decisions we've seen. Oh, he's missed there, Finn Smith. That's going to be a half-time, though, in this contest. 33 points to 7. We are good there. Hamish, why aren't you in formal attire on Super Saturday? Says Victor, because it's quite warm. So I didn't really want to be sweating my backside off all throughout the 3 matches, so I just went with a t-shirt instead. Felt like it was easier. Plus, if the matches go the way that we're anticipating, even though it is Super Saturday, there is a chance it is still that one-horse race in terms of who's going to win the comp. Worst Welsh team in history. I haven't made it past a half an hour all tournament, says Joe King. And New Zealand Sheep has better hearing. Border Collies, Swan Bark, Sheep's lining up. Says Blues Nate. And we've got England destroying Wales, says Patrick, and England are making up the points. Deficit with France a go, says Robert. Yeah, I guess so. Currently, the difference that they've got themselves is 26. So on the overall table, that's going to put them up to 46. So they still need another 50, which is pretty brutal. And tell you what, if Wales concede 50 points in the second half, that's pretty bad. Definitely because that would be without them scoring any points as well. And England, I mean, scoring as many points as they have here, 33 is a relatively high number to have for one half of rugby. So, yeah, it would be close to impossible, you would think, but who knows? It also depends, I guess, how much, if Scotland were to beat France, for me, the maximum that they could beat them by, in my opinion, would be 10. Somewhere around there. So that takes them down to 96. So they will still need a 50-point half here to be able to get somewhere near that number 1 spot. These are the benches of these two sides. For the Welsh, they've got Dewey Lake, Thomas and Azarati, then Williams and Reffel, alongside Rodri Williams, Evans and Tompkins off the rest of the bench. For England, they've got Jamie George, Finn Baxter and Joe Hayes. Cunningham himself already made his way onto the field. That was for Ollie Chisholm, which we never got to see a replay of the blow that caused the damage. He did headbutt a guy, but he went off for the HIA and never really returned. Pollock, Tom Willis, and also Jeff Van Porflia and George Ford as the other man off the English bench. We have got there in the chat, this game is going to be a runaway for England. Who thought Wales were going to be in the game, says Sakili there. And coming in late because they somehow managed to watch the game rather than listen to on the radio, says Lord Inquisitor. And comparing the performances so far, Ireland are a poor third this year, says Jimbo. And also not met one fellow Welshman that has talked about the Six Nations. We accepted our fate game 1, says Joe King. And also, I got to go. We'll be back for France versus Scotland. Tell Rupert Mama I'm thinking of him, says John. Yeah, will be a very intriguing second half. Whether or not Wales can start a comeback like they had up against the Scottish. In fact, what we might do is we'll have a quick look. What was the score at half-time last week? Wales should get checker, says Sakili. Yeah, we're going to go round 4. Half-time was 28 points to 8. So the Welsh were down by 20 points in their last game. They're down by 26 here, but they came back to only lose by 6. So, honestly, second half could be very unpredictable. The English, in their game up against the Italians, they led at half-time 21 points to 17, and then proceeded to go on to win that game by 23 points. So, by that logic, we're going to have about a 50-point second half. And I'm more than happy with that. And a 1-point win by Scotland and England win. French win, and it's down to points difference. A French win with bonus points seals the deal for them. Says Robert. And England dominant everywhere. Says Jimbo. If Wales win this ball flick outright, says Jamie, I'd say no. Like, at the end of the day, England have still had a pretty solid Six Nations competition. There haven't been any games that they've lost majorly. Only losing by thin margins and also beating the French, who could be the eventual winners of the comp. But yeah, it certainly wouldn't be one that they would be happy about if they went from leading by 26 to then losing at full time. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Is France going to have to beat Scotland with a bonus point to win the Six Nations? Just a win would be enough for them because of their differential being as strong as it is. England here, they might end up winning this game with 5 points. So I've moved them up to 20, so France only need the win. And that would give them all the points that they need. A bonus point, of course, would be a massive, bonus. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tricky one for, anything other than, it's France's competition to lose. If they lose up against Scotland, they lose the Six Nations, and England will claim the title. If they win up against Scotland, unless England, like I said, score 50 points in the second half, France will still win the title. But they'll be a little bit more disappointed to end the comp with a loss. As France going to have to beat, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And we have there, Hamish, I enjoy you and your commentary in the chat. This Marmite character is too much, so cheers and good luck. Says Sean in there as well. And we have there, any chance Scotland. You can block him though, Sean, by the way. It is a button. He is sometimes behaved, but yeah, he goes off on a bit of a tangent, it would seem. We have got there in the chat as well, AOA too funny, Marmite, says Matthew. And we have got there, this next 40 minutes could be a bit of fun, says Robert. Yeah, I think both sides are just going to go with some free-flowing rugby and see what happens. What a Super Rugby standard compared to the UK, I think that is. URC it would be. So games on Sky Sport, mixed free channel in Ireland, says Patrick. I mean, the competitiveness of the comp is pretty good at the moment. We've seen every single side get a win, and like I mentioned before, it was the first time since 1998 that at this stage of the comp, every single side had won their games. So, there's last-minute thrillers. We haven't had a game go to golden point yet, but honestly, I don't think it's too far away with the amount of less than 5-point fixtures we have had. They might start watching. Says Patrick. And 10 Nations Cups would be good. 5 from North, 5 from the South. Says Blues Nate. And England will be most disappointed. They were that match in Dublin short of a Grand Slam. Yeah, although you could also argue that Scotland will be disappointed because 1 point difference up against England. If they had won that, they would have been going into this last game with it all to play for. And whoever won that last fixture would have won the Six Nations. Scotland could, of course, cause the upset and win, but they won't get any sort of extra reward other than a thank you from England, which I don't even know if Scotland would want. Do they have awards for best players, etc. in the Six Nations? Do they compose a team of the best players? I believe they do normally have a team of the tournament. Blues Nate sounds good, says Patrick. And there as well. We are not a mile off the start of this second half, ladies and gentlemen. Do, of course, let me know your full-time score predictions for this matchup. We'll go like this, and we will go like that as well. But yeah, it's going to be a very intriguing second 40 because Wales normally find a way of firing up a little bit. And Drew Hamish for France are going to batter Scotland. I'm having a liver and salad cream sandwich, says Deflon there, and the Irish are slowly declining. Looking at their recent performances and scorelines, this could signal the end of their golden generation, says Victor. And it's going to be bad, says Lord Inquisitor. And also, you love scallop, Emmy. I've never had a scallop. The wooden spoon, congrats Wales, and think England could score another 25 to 30. Do you think the Springboks would fare, or how do you think the Springboks would fare if they were part of the tournament, considering this year's Six Nations performances? Says Kotso. I mean, honestly, the debate has been massive throughout the last two streams in terms of whether or not they should join. A majority of people say no. So I feel like going into it too far would get us into more trouble in that regard. But yeah, the Six Nations has been competitive this year, with the exception of the French being able to run away with some pretty big results, although they too have had a couple close games along the line. Because they're going to be 16 losses on the trot for Wales in about 50 minutes. Says Bruce. I think they mentioned that it's going to be the longest losing streak in current modern history. So that's not good. Of course, they would like to have anything but that, really. How are you there? 4 more tries for England, 1 for Wales. Says Jimbo. Yeah, it's gonna be entertaining. Anyway, this second 40, no matter what happens, yes, England are in a position where it would be extremely surprising if they were to lose it from here, but that doesn't mean that we won't see some entertaining rugby. Not sure, Hamish. I would like the texture of the scallop. Did you have your own tournament with South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and potentially Argentina? Says Lord Inquisitor. Yeah, the Rugby Championship, I think, is the one you're talking about. And what happened with the score? Went to make coffee and came back to this score. Yeah, England just fired up right at the end of the first half. Managed to get a few moments going in their favour in terms of just that back line. A little bit of luck with the bounce of the ball, and they made the most of it. And got into a great position. That's always the same. We have you there. Scallop is basically snails, says Lord. And the Springboks are better off doing school tours of the Southern Hemisphere counterparts than joining the Six Nations, says Christopher DeVette. And yeah, like it seems to be one that, like I said, most people seem to not want them to go to the Six Nations. There is the exception of it, and I think I'm starting to work out a majority of the ones who want to go north to the Six Nations. I don't think it's so much about beating the sides that are in the comp. It's more so that they seem to not like what the fans have said about the North sides. Like, of course, there is that stigma that the Northern Hemisphere sides do feel they are the strongest in the world, and they've had some brilliant moments. And I think that because the Springboks are the world champs, that frustrates the supporters a little bit. So I think that's a little bit to do with why we see South Africans often asking, if we had gone into that comp, would we beat them and would we shut up the supporters, was what we saw on the last stream. Now, second half, I would say, is only about a minute away. That's because they win it most years, says Patrick. And thanks, Hamish. I managed to block Marmite. Much better now, says Sean. Yeah, he messages a lot. But I think, honestly, you aren't the first one who was blocked him. I think he's got a list of probably over 100 at this point in time. But yeah, it is great to still have you in the chat, of course. Big weekend of rugby next week. We've got the URC as well as Super Rugby. I hope we stay south. We may have no choice. We don't decide. World Rugby decides, says Robert. And South Africa playing in the Six Nations is a dumb idea. You might as well invite France to play in our Southern Hemisphere comp. Dumb idea, says David the Mod. And yep, keep down south where you live. Nothing for you up here, says Gurno Week. Now, second half, we've seen the one change made so far, which was Ollie Chisholm. That was due to his injury. So hopefully he's going to be all right. But like I said, I would have loved to see a replay of what actually caused that injury, because I know it was his head that I believe collided with the head of the Welsh player. To even consider the box, their clubs would need to compete in Europe, says Jimbo, which they do. Or are you saying they have to be based out of Europe? Because, of course, they are a part of the URC, and they are a part of the Champions Cup 2 at the moment. A Mini World Cup 10 Nations, says Blues Nate, and France will send their first, or will never send their first 15 to play in a Southern comp. Okay, going back to the game, have fun, we'll catch you in a bit, says Lord, so we will see you a bit later on. Second half of this game getting close, and also I should mention only 2 hours, 10 minutes away from the next contest that has taken place between France and Scotland. It's going to feel like a little way away, but it's fast approaching. Compete in the Champions Cup, says Jimbo. Can we see the game or not? Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio would get me taken straight off YouTube if I was to show it. But your best bet is to go onto the Six Nations website. They've got a tab that says where to watch, and depending on, of course, where you are in the world will depend on your watching options. So I'd highly recommend doing that. There are actually a lot of free options around the world for the Six Nations round, so yeah, be sure to check it out. People in the chat, please know that you blocked Mr. Marmite on the stream. If he is annoying you, Taking up chat space, hashtag the more you know, says Tonian. Our Wales prefers to say England than themselves. I agree with you, David the Mod, says JT, and Sarah avoiding Super Rugby down under because couldn't handle a hard hit. Not hit too soft, says Spider-Man. I don't know if that was actually the reason behind it, to be honest. Like, I know that there was a bit of behind the scenes stuff that went a bit wrong on both sides' parts, but like South Africa seem happy at the moment in the URC. Sorry, no game no on screen, buddy. Says Blues Nate, and RTE Ireland, and ITV in the UK, and STV. And we have got their copyrights, says Blues Nate. I would love to see a 23 Northern Hemisphere and 23 Southern Hemisphere Test Series, says JP. It would be pretty awesome. I think that with the amount of rugby that guys are currently playing, it would be hard to squeeze in to any sort of window without, having B-string teams. Because that's the thing, like the Barbarians, when they're all available, is absolutely awesome. But there are times when, sadly, the Barbars just aren't all, ready for rugby at that time. So you end up seeing kind of makeshift teams, which just don't feel as rewarding. There's going to be a terrible 50+, says Jimbo. And early happy St. Paddy's Day, says Black Wolf in there too. It's going to be kicked off for the second half. Nicely taken by Curry inside of the 22. What can Wales do here? Can they get back in? I know about users within the stream. Block this current stream. Feel welcome to use other accounts in the next stream, says Tonian. And that's going to be the penalty. Going the way early for Wales. Well, that's exactly what they needed for the start of the second half to get some sort of momentum. They have been able to do so. An Afternoon Jets is on the right. Looks like Dewey Lake had made his way onto the field at half-time. Same with Kieran Azarati rather than Will Griff John. And Wales had to focus and pull it out now, says Ruth. Yeah, if they can still find a way of receiving... The thing is... Wait, no, I think that would be wrong. No, it would be correct. So if Wales can get within 7... they've just lost their line out, so we might have to take that statement back. But yeah, if they can get within 7 and score 4 tries, they will actually go ahead of Italy on the Six Nations table, which would then give Italy last place and the wooden spoon. So, even though it seems like there's not a lot to play for in this game for the Welsh, with it sitting 33 points to 7, 3 tries and within 7, that will be the goal. And then that would actually put the Italians in last place. We have got there, how was the appetizer match? Any exciting stuff happened? It's been relatively entertaining. England have shown why they are going to be number one at the end of this round. Or, sorry, not at the end of this round, but at the end of this match on the overall standings. We have you there. I won't be blocking you, Mr. Marmite, just for others. I feel you scare people off. That is true. He has made quite a few people leave before. And your info is correct. They were behind the scenes dealings, and that is why Super Rugby South Africa did not stay in Super Rugby, says JT. Now Mitchell. Ball is going to be there at the back, and another penalty does go the way of England. Okay, Wales win by a big scoring, give us a chance. And we have got there, plus they will get more prize money, that is true. And also sometimes Wales, as a royal surname, says Suzanne, kick downfield and does go into touch for England. Like I said, they've already got their bonus points, so they're happy enough to just close out this game, trying to avoid injuries and taking it casually. But at the same time, I feel like, if there's any chance of catching up with the French, they have to win this game by 50+. And even some more on top of that too. By the end of this contest, we will of course know the exact number that England would have to win by, or that France would have to win or lose by. And pencil this one in, Hamish. 2 weeks' time, my team, the Sharks, will play Leinster and Durban. Even is expected to play next weekend against Zebra and Durban, says Robert. Yeah, so we've got a lot of the URC coming up in the near future. We're also going to be covering the Hong Kong Sevens in 2 weeks' time, but we're going to be balancing them so that we can do a little bit of both. Nice take of the high ball by Marcus Smith, 40 metres out from the English line. A little bit of a counter ruck coming from Wales. 49-21 is my prediction, says Jameson. I honestly don't think you'll be a mile off, although maybe a few more points to England, I would say. Like, I do still see Wales being able to score one or two more. They've been close multiple times. They've had one disallowed already. So, yeah, I don't think they'll be a mile off that 21-point mark. Do you think Scotland can do the job on France? It's a tricky one. Oh, that's kicked out on the full from the English. So Wales will have themselves just a little bit more territory. If it was at Murrayfield, I'd be a lot more confident for the Scottish. But because it's in France and a lot of sides have struggled when taking on the French while they're at home. So, yeah. And Scotland have also been far from perfect, the Six Nations. They've made some errors along the way. But I think throughout this whole week, they've heard the underdog story. That was not straight from Wales in the line-out, but it is going to be play on. Max Llewellyn, a lot of touches for him throughout this contest at the moment. Daft Jenkins tackled on the halfway line. I think, as O'Reilly was trying to say, he was tackled off the ball by Maroa Toje. Dewey Lake has knocked the ball on. And now England are once again going to have possession just outside of their 22. Finn Smith kicks it downfield. Goes to Blair Murray. Does put it high. Chases after. Oh, Mitchell's had another handling error. Can Murray win the foot race? Oh, no, he can't. Not quite. He's been close to scoring 3 tries, and every time just narrowly misses out. Best lack of animation, says Eric J. All right. I think they'll be just checking this one. Who's putting their hand up for man of the match? For the English, I mean, Finn Smith has been really strong throughout this match. Roebuck's been handy. But yeah, I'd probably go Finn Smith. So it was knocked back by England, then grabbed by Marcus Smith. So I believe this will actually be a 5-metre scrum now for Wales. So not all is lost just at this current moment. 101 present Scotland. What's the time difference in New Zealand and Ireland? Well, currently we are sitting at almost 7 a.m. New Zealand time. They're just showing the metres made. Blair Murray at the top of the bunch with 71. Freeman in second on 57. Then it's Ben Curry on 41. It's almost 6 p.m. here, says Patrick. So yeah, we're almost 7 a.m. So a decent amount of difference between the two locations. Blair Murray looks like the Hulk sneezed on his back. He's got green everywhere from some sort of paint, I would say. 6 p.m. here, says Jimbo, and 11 hours, says Patrick. Now a chance here for the Welsh. I mentioned about it. They need 4 tries to knock them off the bottom peg. But they also need England not to score too many more points themselves. 6 p.m. here in Britain, says Kerno Wick. He got the card. I had in the shower early, says Blues Nate. 13 hours, says Jimbo. Right, scrum is solid. Thomas Williams goes across to Ben Thomas, short ball. Only just out from the line, and it's a clean steal for Ben Curry. And Blair Murray, Slares Crimson, and Sarah has said, hi, welcome, and hope you are doing very well. That ball's gone into touch. A little bit of pressure reprieved again, but great work in the breakdown from Ben Curry. He's outshining his brother at the moment for what he's been able to do throughout this match. Like I mentioned just before, he has the 3rd most metres out of any player out there on the park. And what was the score between England and Italy? England scored 22 points. Oh, sorry, England-Italy was 50... What was it? We'll have to quickly scroll up a little bit further to find it. 47-24 between England and Italy. Now rolling more for the Welsh. Elliot D. In fact, it's Dewey Lake now. There's an advantage in favour of the Welsh. Hello, Spider, says Sarah. I'm Mr. Marmite's son, says Sarah in there as well. Mr. Marmite was misbehaving, says Matthew. Like a thief in the night, says Big Rig. Off to the left-hand side. There's a bit of skill there from Gareth Anscombe, and they will go back. Right, white forward, so that's Maro Itoje, who has been penalised for that one. Jamie George also making his way onto the field alongside Joe Hayes for the English. South Africa win against Ireland ever. They have beaten Ireland many times. The last few years, it's been a little bit more competitive. We have got there. You have to commentate Leinster's first URC loss in 2 weekends' time, Hamish. They might even lose next week up against the Bulls. It's going to be a tough game for them, so the Bulls might get to do it before the other sides get to. Oh, sorry, I should say I think it's Sharks next week get the first crack at them, don't they? My brother and sister are English. I hope they win over France, says Patrick. Going back to the right. Ben Thomas. Tackled in the middle of the field. Lupe Falatau pops the ball up. Now Williams again. Going to the right-hand side, flat pass. Getting back up to his feet. There was Joe Roberts as he wasn't held. They're 5 metres from the line now. Can the Welsh get their second try of the match? See you on for the France versus Scott stream now at the back line. Me runs forward, offloads it. Oh, it's knocked on again by Wales. That's so poor. Just out from the line, there's a lack of communication. I think Me had to pass it earlier, but just went for the offload instead, trying to get that draw and pass going. The crowd are not happy as, once again, another massive opportunity squandered. And just, through the hands of Max Llewellyn and then knocked on the outside. And Max Llewellyn and Aaron Wainwright both dropping it. So, even if Me did hang on to it too long, honestly, really poor from Max Llewellyn. He should have claimed that every day of the week. The fact that he was on the outside and didn't expect to pass when you're 5 metres from the line, I think the commentators are just coming around as well. They were saying initially that he made the wrong choice, but now they're saying maybe he actually made a great bit of work in terms of being able to lure in all the defenders. That has to be finished by Wales out wide. However, there I mean a chicken and mayo sandwich, says Matthew. One of the commentators said, was that Aaron Wainwright? To which the female commentator went, so I'm not sure what the inside joke is there, but they did enjoy it. But not so much the fact that the Welsh weren't able to score it. I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to see them cross the try line there. They're going to have to wait that little bit longer. It's my birthday Sunday, says Mohadin. A lot of birthdays around this week. So I think next Sunday or next something day, next Saturday is going to be Isaac's birthday. Then the Saturday after is George's. Two of the Kiwi lads crossing their birthdays off nice and early in the year. Now it's going to be the scrum feed for the English. They're just out from their line. Bulls versus Leinster Loftus next week. Sharks versus Leinster Durban 2 weeks. So the Bulls might get first crack at being able to end that undefeated streak of Leinster. Had a big chicken mayo roll for dinner. Says RIP, I'm driving in Twickenham. So happy the game is in Cardiff and not messing with my Saturday drive, says on the right. I imagine traffic around the stadiums would definitely get a little bit hectic. Happy birthday, Brave, from us here. Says Kevin. But 5 metres out from their line. Took a little while to get the scrum set, I will say, which has been a bit of a trend throughout this match in terms of some of the set pieces just not being as smooth as I'd like them to be. A little bit of a push there from England, then it got a bit more scrappy, but the ball will still be on their side. No advantage in their favour. Welsh still need those 3 tries and to finish the game within 7 to not be in that golden spoon position. So there's still quite a bit on the line in some regards, you could say. And now, on the halfway line, Joe Roberts. Good night, Mr. Marmite. The Vegemite is still available for you in Australia. Says Matthew. And how is the winner of the Six Nations decided? Whoever has the most points at the end of the comp wins. So at the moment, this is the way that the standings sit. If England win this game, they'll move up to 20. So then France, if they win their game up against Scotland, they will move to first because their points differential is insane from this comp. Or if they get a bonus point win over Scotland, then they will just win it with the extra point in their favour. And now another offload from Azarati. Back across to the left-hand side here. Good backline movement from the Welsh. To Lupe. Falatau bumps through the tackle attempt of Curry. Now Williams again round the halfway mark for the Welsh. They've just struggled to get those meters going. Happy birthday, Bray. Says Blues Nate. And we have the Adam Jones making an impact as scrum coach. It does seem to be. They've actually won quite a few penalties, including most of the ones up against the Irish when it came to scrum time. 40 metres out. 10 phases in a row. I still know Caramel Magnum's around here. Says RIP. I haven't had Caramel Magnum since last week. I managed to behave myself. But, yeah, they are very nice. Marcus Smith trying to find his way through, and that's a big shot. Coming on him 20 metres out from the line. Full converted try should do it. Says Eric J. And the Golden Spoon. Says a Jimbo. I mean, the Welsh, to be honest though, like when you look at their overall competition compared to Italy's, you would have to argue that Wales probably deserve last place more. That's not to take anything away from the game that they had up against the Irish, where they were extremely competitive. But like Italy have been really strong at times, but they have conceded a lot of points throughout the competition. Gareth Thomas now making his way on, and same with Tommy Reffel. That will be for Talupe Falatau. First and second have a 3 million difference in prize money, says Lilia B. A few English have played themselves into the British Irish Lions over the last 2 games. Tom Curry and Ben Earl, Toge and possibly Finn Smith, right under Mr. Farrell's gaze today, says Kuno Vic. To switch it off, Wales are dreadful, says Sakile. And a lot of mistakes from Wales, yeah. Unfortunately, when they've got try-scoring opportunities and they aren't able to finish them, it does, of course, bring a lot of frustration. Possession in the second half, it's 70% in favour of the Welsh. So once again, second half hasn't really been their problem, but again, no points to show for it. So it doesn't mean a lot unless you can start converting it. But Morgan going off to the right-hand side. Pass was in behind. Replacement 22. Now Williams shifting it to the left-hand side. Azarati, that was head-on-head between him and Curry. And as we've learned already in this game, we do not check those. So it is different to could. Says RIP, now passed on the outside. Nice one. Going to Elliot Mee. Or Ellis Mee, I should say. Close to the sideline. Blair Murray, good power shown by Max Llewellyn. But can't drive him into touch. Another step. Mitchell, he has been told to use it, so he's going to roll this one back. Must admit, rugby players are tough buggers. Says David the Mod. Oh, close to a steal on the breakdown from Wales, but now England are going to try it again. Right, there is going to be the advantage. Okay, no attempt to wrap the arms from Red 17. Toge staying down that little bit longer, but he is now back up. Looked like he was a little bit confused about that one, Gareth Thomas. Missed touch for the English. I think I just heard Nick Berry talking to one of the English players saying, don't grab him in the breakdown or I have to penalise you. And now Llewellyn plays half. And speaking of half, they are on the halfway line. Tommy Reffel running straight at Jamie George. Anyone here old enough to have watched Wales get in the Grand Slam? So he's on the right. And game's so done. Nice passing. No, that one's going to go down. Chasing after this is Alex Mitchell. And it sits up for him. He will score the try. They might just check to see if there was a knock-on involved. We have got there, Scotland is going to do the honourable thing and win the Six Nations for England, says Christopher, although sadly they cannot, the Scottish, not with England getting the bonus point here. All right, he's just said he's happy with the timing on the hit. Elliot Daly will be more than happy with how that one has set up. We're going to see the replay. Okay, what did that come off? It looked like it was in the tackle and the ball bounced forward, but it's whether or not it hit the arm or whether maybe it hit the body or the head. I think I heard head said before. Right, we're going to see the replay now. Yeah, straight off the dome. So that is a perfect try. And yeah, Elliot Daly getting absolutely clobbered with the ball. And we have the last Welsh pass. Pass had too much heat on it, says David the Mod. I've got there, he said Scotland win for England, says Robert. And hard to say, to be honest. Too early for me, says Blues Nate. And leading with the dome, no try, says Crimson. Currently, the way that the table sits, sitting 20 points for the English, played 5, won 4. How is it 40, says Mohaddin, because they have scored a lot of tries throughout this game, the English. They're outside the 22, so it is taken back, so they do have to use it. Okay, that's been called as inside, so now they are able to kick the ball into touch. And Alex Mitchell will try and do just that. In fact, he's tried to go over the top. Liam Murray is back there, though, on his own 22. Do you think Ireland will send a strong team to play Georgia and Portugal this summer? Or will they keep the stronger players for the Lions tour? It's a little bit tricky, isn't it? But, I would say they'll send a little bit of a mix, more experimental side. Maybe with a couple guys that they want to get a few more minutes. And that is a penalty one by the English in the breakdown again. This post-try analysis thing is becoming ridiculous, says Stefan. As in from myself, Stefan, or from the commentators? We have got there England hit 40, says Spider Mick. And we have got there anyone else here remember what that Welsh full cut his testicles out? No, I don't remember that. 50 plus points, come on lads. Says Blues Nate. But now, 57 minutes in, and it is going to be another line-out throw for the English. Crimson is that a clown Terminator? This is RIP. Right, is Blair Murray going off? It would be a bit of a surprise, definitely because of what he's been able to do throughout this match. I know Nick Tompkins goes on for Max Llewellyn. I was about to say that's probably not the best choice as he's really kept them on attack at times. Now Jamie George throws the ball in nicely. Do you think England is going to win? Yes. I would even say that I'm pretty confident they will. Or Marcus Smith has a bit of a juggle with the ball, just as I say that. Very poor play, Wales. I know from the referees, I nothing to do with your commentating, says Stefan. Honestly, they're taking a really long time to make decisions lately for the tries. At least it seems like that this weekend. How they just seem to be looking for some reason not to award it rather than to just award it and get on with the game. Now Ellis Genge, another tackle on him. Now Mitchell. On across to Joe Hayes, who wasn't tackled, so is allowed to keep on going. Maroa Toje with the pick and go. 50 plus points would be ungentlemanly conduct, says Eric J. Oh, high kick from George Ford, who's decided to change the tactics up a little bit. Murray's quite solid under a high ball, but it's nicely won by Tommy Roebuck. And a little knock on the ground from Finn Smith. In fact, that is not Finn Smith, I don't think. I think that is actually Henry Pollock. We had a bit of a problem there. And woeful Wales, they didn't retain any skillets from Gatlin as coach. I remember some with a knife. Went into the NHS mental place. Says Kerno Rick. Hamish, you're going to make some Rugby 25 vids this week. I laughed so much at that game. Says Xander. So we did do, I think it was 3 or 4 episodes of the career mode last week, and that will be the plan to do for this week as well. But yeah, in terms of how many, I know that we're going to have a Crusaders career mode of me and George on Thursday, and then probably Tuesday and Wednesday will be the 2 other days that we upload them. We might even go Monday as well if I'm not working, so I will get a bit more time to be able to edit it. Slept at the Principality, says Ned, and come on Wales, keep it under 50. But yeah, Ben Curry certainly has had a blinder of a game here for the English. They're talking about the fact that man of the match could be just around the corner for him. And well done, congrats, Bulldogs English. So they will move to first, of course, after this game is finished. We've still got 20 minutes remaining. So there is still time, but I just don't think there is enough time for Wales to get too much going in this remaining period. They've got themselves the penalty advantage from inside of their own 22 now, trying to run it out as Ben Thomas, and they will go back for the penalty here. Nick Berry, not in the head. And Hamish, I sold my PS5 for a noble cause. Is Rugby 25 on the PS4? I think so. I could be wrong though, but I do believe it is on all newer consoles, or even the PS4, Xbox One type thing. And Arbrew, come on. Wales gives us 50 lads. Now across to the right-hand side again. It's attack and run from Jack Morgan. Going off to the left. Ball popped up by Daft Jenkins. Hamish, do you think the New Zealand cricket teams here can beat Sri Lanka? Says Kevin. And Wales just took a big steps backwards. Yeah, it certainly hasn't been as competitive as they would have liked. They're going back for another offside advantage here against the English. So back-to-back penalties against the away side here. We've got their one day I'll pay Cape Town a visit and hook up with you, Roof. Interesting. I think he means interested in that one. Distance to the try line is going to be about 17.7, as they've said. So that's very specific. And I Spider says Ruth. Be thrown in nicely by the Welsh. Now looking for the rolling maul. So what is up with Wales lately? New players? Well, they're a very young side that haven't really, at the moment, some would argue, got the same quality as some other nations. But of course, because Wales have been so strong in the past, with all those great players like Bigger, Liam Williams, Halfpenny, honestly, you could list a lot, Alwyn Jones. Like, with losing all those type of players, it's put them in a really difficult spot. And it's going to take time to be able to get out of that spot. Loose ball, picked up by Blair Murray. Honestly, this guy has got a bright future for the Welsh. Did have a short stint at the Crusaders. I believe New Zealand born Blair Murray, which is why we knew of him a little tiny bit before the Six Nations competition. Now going back across to the right-hand side again. I'll check it up later. I was in the news years ago. So here's Bruce, and that's going to be another penalty now to England once again, managing to be the better side in the breakdown. Right, Nick Berry pretty much saying he was just leaving it to see whether or not he would win the ball, and when he wasn't able to, for Maro Itoje, they then decided to go back. 17 minutes remaining. It's going to be a tricky one. Will England get 50? That's the big question. They've had 8 opposition, 22 visits. They've scored 40 points from it. So points per visit has been a total of 5. Whereas for the Welsh, they have only scored 1 point per visit. That's what Wales, but they are terrible, says Ross. Yeah, they've certainly been struggling throughout the Six Nations comp. But I still hope there's some good news for them at some point. I just don't think it's going to be for the Six Nations. Oh, there's going to be a knock on from England in the breakdown, but the penalty does go the way of the English again. Arachnophobia. How do you spell it? Not like that, I don't think, but it's not a mile off. And we've got there, I think England can get 50. Yeah, they're pretty close. 2 more tries would do it, or a converted try and a penalty, but I don't think they would have the mindset of trying that out. It was the All Blacks. They would have 50 by now. Says Manny M. Yeah, we've got there, England will get 50, says Patrick. And one day we can organise a meet and greet with all the Kiwi Lad subscribers from South Africa, says Lilia B. And come on Wild, says Jade. Jamie George throwing this one in, nicely taken by Maro Itoje. Ben Earl breaking off the back. And still another penalty advantage for England, so they will look to close this one out. Chandler cutting himself close to the try line. Dragged down just short. Jay Jones has said, come on Wales. And they will be short again. So England, another penalty. We're kind of in a repetition phase at the moment of just penalty after penalty, it would seem. And a little bit of push and shove there for, I think that's Henry Pollock, trying to get involved with the big boys. We're there, Wales really down and out. And no card refs, skipping blackjacks, huh? Says Blues Nate. Now, once again, got ourselves another 5-metre line out. Wales need to step up with rugby, says Ross Davis. Right, can they get themselves another try here, England? They've been on the verge for a long time. What's the most successive losses for any international team? I believe Wales would win it if they were to lose this next game. I think someone said that it would be the longest losing streak in the modern era. With 16 or so, I think it is. So, not a record that you want to hold. Oh, that's a big shot coming in from Gareth Thomas. Now Mitchell, pop pass up to Ben Earl. I got a lot of love for Wales. Shame about the result. But they need a break and reset. All we knew it. We all knew it was Gatland out that rallied for that Island game. Oh, that's going to be the try out wide. And it is Henry Pollock. Man, he was just getting involved in a bit of the push and the shove. I think they found his parents maybe on the cam. But he does get the try for the English now. And how far has the Princess team fallen? And Pollock says Eric. So yeah, that'll be his first try in an international rugby kit. Welsh supporter shaking his head. He is not happy about it. And that is a feeling that has been all too familiar. And Google, how many games has Wales lost in a row? 16 international matches, says Xander. Yeah, nice work. Out wide to find the gap. Try on his debut. Did England got the bonus point? How many tries so far? They have got the bonus point. They only needed the 4. I believe they're up to now 7 tries that have been scored. And nice try, how we looking. So currently, I should mention, the points differential is 38. Or in fact, now it moves up to 40 with that kick going over. So England's points differential is plus 60, which does mean that if France were, well, at the end of the day, if France win, they do win the Six Nations. So pretty much no matter what. Yeah, well, France to win, England still need another like 40 points in their favour. In fact, more than that. Now, Wales have this under control, says Stephen. Has 15 losses affected the ticket sales? Not really. I think it's still sold out at the Principality. We've probably never seen a side that's had such a poor run have such a massive audience each and every game. How much to have breakfast before the next game, says Matthew. And do France need a bonus point? They do not. They just need to win because of how strong they've pushed their points differential throughout the early stages of the comp. And Marcus Smith going for the kick in behind, and it does go into touch. Nicely placed. And Crimson no, says Patrick. Wales need to organise a friendly against some bad team to get a win, says Patrick. And probably just me, but holy crap, isn't Six Nations as boring as if, says Robert. Welcome back. I don't mind it, honestly. Like, it depends on what type of rugby you're into, and if you, like, I guess know the teams and know the players and whatnot, because, like I happily get up at 3 a.m., 5 a.m. for these games and leave it entertained. I mean, France versus England, the match between those two sides is probably going to be match of the year. Like, I don't think they actually have a reward or like an award for that, but honestly, that game back and forth, drama-wise, a lot of people have said that, oh, that's going to be another try, is it, for the English? No, only a couple metres out, offloads it up to the big man, Joe Hayes. And it's another one. England do have their 50. Score more than 50 points, says Blues Nate. And we have got there's the most points England have ever scored in Wales, says Jimbo. And Welsh people are tough. And they are moving on from a time period where we all knew it was England Rugby. One step back, two steps forward. And Wales has a long-term plan. They want to be the bottom of the table, then rise. And will look better on paper as opposed to consistently being ranked between 4th and 6th. Says Xander. Yeah, great finish. Replacements. Tom Willis got his offload up to Joe Hayes. And that kick's gone over, making the score now 54 points to the 7. So just continuing to keep going here. Put Wales in the MLR. It would be interesting to see how they go. I'd assume they would win it, but it's hard to tell, isn't it? This current Welsh team. A nice take inside of their own 22 there. Tom Willis having a bit of a wrestle with Joe Roberts. Wales versus Georgia would be an interesting game. Winner gets next year's Six Nations place, says John. And do we know whether or not Wales do play Georgia in their internationals this year? I'm just going to have a quick look, see what I can find. Yeah, the coaches for Wales just looking a bit disappointed in what they've seen. Now, nicely taken. Halfway line here for the Welsh. Ben Thomas passes the ball off to Blair Murray. I think they do play one test, says John. We'll have a quick look. See what we can find for the Welsh. Oh, nice step from Tommy Roebuck. There's a lot of Toms in this English side. Okay, for my app, it doesn't have their confirmed games as of yet. Don't know if anyone remembers when Six Nations Rugby was atrociously chronic. Not now, it's exciting and vibrant, says David the Mod. And are the Welsh playing really badly or England just too good? I think it's a little bit of both. Like, Wales have had a poor performance here, but England have been strong. Like, they've got a lot of turnovers in the breakdown, which has given them huge amounts of possession, but Wales have still had enough to do something, if that makes sense. Wales have had a few good teams in the last decades. I mean, not like the Gareth Edwards era. Yeah, see, and like even just compared to that Rugby World Cup 2023 when they got to the quarterfinal, you look at some of the players that they had for that, and it's night and day between these current guys. Attack and run forward again. Blair Murray, he's going to be picked up, but they have managed to get the offload away here, Wales. Two-man tackle. And just physicality-wise, we're seeing a lot more here from the English. Past our wide Aaron Wainwright. The pass did drift forward, though. As the next fixture directly after this game, will there be a delay till scheduled time? There is actually a delay, unfortunately, and it is a longer delay than the last one. So the next game is kicking off in an hour and 30 minutes time. We are starting in an hour and 20. But of course, we've only got about 8 minutes remaining of this stream. So it's going to be a little bit of a waiting time before that next game gets underway. Actually, quite a late night for some of you guys who are watching from overseas. And both Lilia B, Wales are playing badly and England playing well. Seems like a lot of people are kicking Wales when they're down. Cheap stuff. Replace them with Georgia. Sorry. You guys should enjoy your time to hate while it lasts, because they will rise again, says Otto. And also, such a good work running up and down there, says RIP. Now 7 minutes left. That one used up about a minute waiting for the scrum. Ref asking for a little bit of stability. Now Jack Van Poorfleet. Oh, that was a big shot coming in, and beautiful backline here for England. Elliot Daly taken down in a 2-man tackle. Good counter ruck from Jack Morgan. He's been a bit more quiet this week. Unbelievable, Hamish. Wales bombed here, no game plan. No, nice pass on the outside. Joe Roberts goes for the grubber, but the ball just bounces into touch. It will be another line out. Wales, like Scotland and Ireland, are small countries, minnows, if you like, compared to likes of New Zealand/South Africa. People either lose that perspective or are simply not in the know. Says Kerno Rick. Now, Dewey Lake. Throw this ball in again for the Welsh. They'd love one more. Like, I know that it wouldn't win. Oh, that's a knock-on from Rodri Williams. I'm not sure what the tactic was there. He just kind of slapped the ball forward. But they've just mentioned almost 4 years since Wales have got themselves a win in the Six Nations. That is crazy. Right, they've played the man's arm in the air, so at least Wales will have themselves the penalty. But, yeah, crazy statistic right there. And I really hope Wales would find a bit of heart. Alas, no, says Gunner. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just, it hasn't been there for them, unfortunately. It's 2:30 p.m. in the USA, so a decent time for a bit of rugby. Of course, next game's going to be kicking off for you at 4 p.m. And Wales have heart. They are exhausted. They gave it their all against Scotland and Ireland. So here's Otto. Yeah, I still think that game up against the Irish was the best game we've seen from Wales in a long time. And I think the fact that they didn't win it would have been extremely disheartening. And the WRU has a lit to answer for, says Gunner. Now looking for the rolling maul. Has stopped moving. Rodri Williams has been told to use it. He needs that ball to come out the back and go to the right-hand side. Playing advantage. And that is for England being offside. Dewey Lake can't get through. No advantage. It's going to be against Ben Earl, so now England just all flop in the breakdown. Rodri Williams pops it up again. Chance again, passed out wide. Stepping. They're close. They've been close so many times in this game, though, and they've only managed to score the one. If I had 16 bad jobs in a row, I would not be getting paid at the end of the month, just saying. Says on the right. And we have got there, the Welsh fans are amazing. You can't help but be impressed by them. They turn up every week. Yeah, exactly right. And the fact that the Principality is still getting sold out at this point in time, even with the situation they're in, is absolutely huge. Beautiful pass. Ben Thomas will go through and score the second try of the match for the Welsh. Wales just doesn't have one or two star players to mentor the rest of the team, says David. And I do think they've got a couple guys that could be future stars, like Blair Murray. I think has been one of the shining lights of the Six Nations for the Welsh. That one's going to go over, so they'll make the score 54 points to 14. Hamish Kitsoff says RIP. And the high spot of the afternoon was seeing Nessa in the crowd. Says Gunner time. And we have got there Springboks in Ireland, Springboks in the All Blacks has set the standards for great rugby today. Says Blues Nate. That's out about Kitsoff, hey Hamish. Says RIP. It is a shame, but honestly, it's the right decision. Like, the last thing that we want to see is that man end up paralysed or worse, and it was looking like it could have been worse for him. So I think it's the right decision from Stephen Kitsoff. Ben Curry has got man of the match. He's getting a little bit of terrorising from his teammates, putting their fingers in his ears and whatnot. But he has had a very good game. Now, 2 minutes left. Wales can't get the bonus point. Your scoreboard is much improved. Long may it last, says Robert. Yeah, I don't know why, but for some reason it's relatively up to date compared to some of the other weeks. Sometimes it's shocking, but yeah, for now it's behaving. Said record points for England in Cardiff. Nice break of the line for Alice Mee, but it's gone into the hands of England again. What does France have to do? Or have to win by to get the title? They just have to win. So whether it's by 1 or by 50, they will still get themselves that title. But if Scotland beat France, and that's when it gets interesting, that would mean that England claim the Six Nations. And France would finish probably in third, actually. Oh, great run, great pace from the youngster. And Henry Pollock gets his second try. Great commentary, Shane, about the score. Says gunner time. And we over there, that woman the camera keeps cutting to. As Welsh comedian Ruth Jones. Says David the Mod. And also we have got there, Italy played very well today. Says Dean. And Hamish, you would have made it a good All Black? I wouldn't have, no. I'm not that fast. Like, the only thing that I got going for me in terms of, like, side of things is probably vision. Just because I always used to get told when I was playing rugby younger and also football, it was that I was good at spotting things. But other than that, probably not good for me. Ruth Jones is Nessa, by the way. Says gunner time. Can I be honest? I've never actually seen her in the stands. Like, I know her from, of course, Gavin and Stacey, but I haven't spotted her at all. I thought they kept on showing Henry Pollock's family, so maybe she's round there, is she, or was it somewhere else? Now, 80 minutes has just passed, which does mean if this ball goes into touch, it's going to be the end of the game. And Wales will be sitting with a hefty defeat. They've gone for the short kickoff. It hasn't travelled the 10. That honestly sums up their day. Brilliant series says gunner time. So the English will be Scottish fans tonight. They certainly will be. Which seems ironic, doesn't it? Because of the rivalry between the two teams. But, you know, Scotland can now have a very big hand in England winning the Six Nations. Because they have to beat France. And that's going to be tough to do. We're going to be covering it on the channel. It is happening in an hour and 20 minutes time, but we are starting in around an hour 10. We've got one scrum on the halfway line. I'm curious to see whether or not England just boot this ball out. I believe they would make that decision, save any chance of injuries. 67 points, says Blues Nate. And I think the Scottish would rather lose to France than win for England, says Otto. Yeah, and that's the situation they find themselves in. It's a tough one for Scotland. Of course, they'd love to get the win, but by doing so, I guess it does get overshadowed by England then winning the Kolkata and the Six Nations title too. But Ben Earl looks like England want one last attack here. Going off to the side, Marcus Smith. Put in a nice last-minute effort here. Chandler Cunningham South. And, Morgan couldn't quite get his hands on the ball. Offload to Maro Itoje, who's lost the headgear. Sitting 5 metres out from the line. That looked close to 4. No, it's going to be the try. And Chandler Cunningham South. He is the man who scores it. I don't know what happened to the scoreboard. It looks like it's actually said that the game's already finished, but there is one more try. But I'll just have to check to see whether or not that last pass was forward. England wanted to destroy Wales. Another try, says Joshua. And yeah, a bit of a statement made by England saying, yes, we beat you badly, but look, we can score again whenever we want to. And we have there, will Scotland be conflicted to win against France or lose against France? That is the question, says Anthony Harris. And well done, England, says Jimbo. And well done to the English. Thoughts are with Wales. Great job, Amish. Cheers, mate, says Gurno X. So, yeah, next stream is in 1 hour and 10 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen. And that will be the one that takes place between France and Scotland to decide the Six Nations competition. We are once again going to be here. The crowd are singing loud and proud for England. The end score is 68 points to 14. There's actually an extra try on top of that. A damn cricket score, says David the Mod. He's saying the winner between France versus Scotland wins the Six Nations, or I misunderstood. So if Scotland win, England win the Six Nations. If France win the Six Nations. People doing your scoreboard, I see in the game slightly ahead of you, says Robert. And I can lift 140 kgs. That's come out of absolutely nowhere, Patrick. But congratulations, that's a decent amount of weight. Oh, yeah, I've got there. I see you for the France-Scotland game, says Gunner Time. Yeah, nonetheless, I'm excited. I'm going to be nervous for the next hour or so, waiting for this contest. In fact, longer than that to start up. But thank you all very much for being here. And I will see you all for the next one.